All right, we're hot. Gonna work on this today. Uh, we'll get there though. For those people that are watching later, it's a little bit boring. For those people that are tuning in now, much better, much more fun. First things first, I have a package from Dan here. He wanted to trade, and package a little worse for wear, but let's open it. He wanted to trade starter covers. So, okay. I like the padded envelopes. Let's see. Rather than these for this sort of thing. Who's here? Ken? Larry? Steve? Good. Anyway. Did it arrive in one piece? Yes, it sure did. Everything's completely fine on that. Yeah, that's a really nice clutch cover, or starter cover, really. Okay. Dan, you want to trade? We trade. So now I gotta get it off the Ratty Tatty 268. Need a little cleanup first, and I need to bring you guys up on the other phone here. I have no idea what you're saying, so let's have a look. Actually, I got a lot done yesterday. I went down to the folks, and what did I do? I got the muffler for this thing done. It's rough. Wow. Half Moon Homestead, hello from Maine. Hello, how are you? Steve, Ken, Half Moon, Larry, Bob, Dave Shively, hello. PA Dan, how are you? Yeah, saws with attitude. It's good. Okay. So I do a little bit of cleanup here before we actually. Mike Burrish, how are you? 9 people here. Just so you know, you all need to get to church. Just saying. Sunday. My kids are down at the folks. So yeah, time to do a little bit of cleanup here, and then we'll get to doing stuff because I got a lot done. I got a lot done, which means that we can move forward on a lot of projects I've been waiting on. So hey, this is Saw Church. Oh Lord. Yeah, Christmas was kind of rough around here, admittedly. And my wife is still sick after Christmas, and both kids had fevers. So I have avoided getting it, amazingly. Of course, I've been hiding like in another room in the house for days. So I basically come home from work and ignore the wife and kids and try not to get sick. Have no problem attending church. Reverend Olson. Oh Lord, no. we've had a nice couple of days. Yesterday was pretty nice. I got home from work about 2 o'clock. Got out of here about 3 down to the folks. Of course, we were losing daylight. And then I finally started working on some stuff. And the first thing that I did was do the muffler for that 272, and these are not easy to weld. They're not, and I'm not a welder, so the welds come out looking like this. But it's solid. That's going to be a sizable opening there. What I didn't know was this is actually baffled. There's a baffle in here, so we may work on that a little bit too. There's holes in the baffle, but maybe I cut some more holes. So, hey Craig, morning. Tom, good morning. You know, I can hit that with a grinder, but it just doesn't. I don't know. Just not even worried about it. What I will do, I'm gonna hit this with a little bit of paint. What does a baffle do? Yeah, the baffles. Running some paint makes me a welder. I ain't. That's right. Probably the baffle quiets it and restricts flow essentially. What brand of cylinder? This is a Farmer Tech 52 millimeter. Paint. Use the flame proof stuff. This dries pretty quick too. Sit over there for the moment. Okay. If anybody wants the saw that I'm building there, I can include a OEM muffler in case they really feel like it. Quick unboxing here. William Prophet, how you doing, man? How you hanging in? Adapters for those cannon bars. Yeah, but attack doesn't tell you four-stroking. You can set that high RPM anywhere and it may not be four-stroking. Alright, all this nail. Alright, that's irrelevant. We don't have to worry about that. So let's see. Let's work on the do we want to work on the porting first, or you want me to? I don't know. Maybe I'll just pull off this starter cover for Dan. So I ran the Ratty Tatty 268 yesterday. And it ran pretty nice, actually. Dan, this is yours. Just so you know, it's yours. A little dirty on the inside, but it's got a brand new pull cord. worked just fine yesterday. So I'm going to put this in a bag for you. I'm gonna put this in 2 padded envelopes. One here, one here. It'll go out via priority mail, probably tomorrow. Okay. There's that over there. Might as well put this on the... Looks like I should be able just to put it right on. On this cover, I think these bolts are actually captured. On the other cover, they're not, because the other cover is older. Yep, captured. The spacers come from Definitive Dave, who sold the bars. Well, Ken, that's what you want. You want it to clean up when it's in the wood. So you want it 4-stroke free, clean up when it's in the wood, and then as soon as you lift it out of the wood, it should go back to 4-stroking. The best video I've seen for tuning a chainsaw is M. Weba, Mitch Weber. I think is that Mitch Weber? M. Weba on YouTube, MWEBA, and he has the best tuning video I've ever seen. All right, this is going to go on here. Good. Yeah, you can contact Definitive Dave through OPE, or you can get them on eBay. I found these on eBay. Look up Canon. Canon bars. These are on there on eBay. They're like $11 a shot. Been told you can't tack a ported saw? Are you kidding? Of course you can tack a ported saw. I don't have a tack, but I'll get one eventually. Well, yeah, you don't want to tack a ported saw to book specs. No, it will eventually have its own specs. So, hey, Earl. Anybody here I haven't given a shout out to? 52 millimeter. I really gotta grind on that to get everything smooth, but so this is done on the Bridgeport, not on the lathe. You can do it either way. Jeffrey, morning. Welcome. Thanks for coming. We mainly just hang out here. Yeah, I like my saws on the rich side too, no question about it. But you gotta listen for the tune. You gotta be checking it all the time. some stuff away here. Hey, Brandon. Morning. Gotta keep putting stuff away. That way, get this all cleaned up, and we can do some more work. So Christmas this year was not quite what it could have been because of everybody being sick. But, you know, I guess my folks tell me that basically when we were kids, it wasn't any different. There's always some damn thing going on. Did I use a rotary table? I did not. This is free-handed. Do I have good luck with them? No, I haven't. This is my first foray into a 52 millimeter big bore. I think. Yeah, because I've used the OEM big bore before. I don't think I've ever used the Farmer Tech ones. All this is 272 stuff. Probably collect things everywhere. Really hard to get, projects start to finish done. That's the problem around here, is if I can get a project start to finish done, then I can move it off the bench and be done with it. But I end up with 3-4 projects going all at once because I'm waiting on this, that, the other thing. It's hard. All right, 268, move out the way. Crankcase here. Well, I can tell everybody this is not a cooking show. I don't have everything prepared. So I did two things. I machined the crankcase. The diameter of the pop-up is 52 millimeter. This is a 52 millimeter aftermarket piston. The pop-up is about 40 thousandths. No, this is going to be a base gasket, not a base gasket. Delete. This is going to have a base gasket. This is an aftermarket piston. This is not the Meteor. This is the regular one that came with this. I can change it to a Meteor if need be. If possible, I'm going to find a 52 millimeter caber for this. But really, first thing I need to do is I need to do a little bit of grinding on here to clean this up, and then I need to clean this up a little bit, remove all the stuff off of here. I took off about 65 thousandths here and about 20 thousandths here. You don't want to take too much off here because you can thin this out too much and then the ears crack. Oh, the actual diameter of the well, we can look. know what? I need a new battery in here. Let me get a new battery in here. Hey, Harry. Artistic arborist, the depth of the pop-up and its diameter. Yeah, hang on. Okay. So this is a 52 millimeter. .1.14, but it's supposed to be 52 millimeter. 35 millimeter for there. Matt, how are you? Harry Voss, hello. 394 running, 441C piston. Wow, you did a lot yesterday, huh? I don't know if I'm quite that good. Yeah, but this was done basically freehand. So what I did was Midnight. How are you? You drop this in there, and I actually put like a piece of saran wrap on the outside just to make sure it's steady. But this we know is perpendicular to the bore. This surface may not be. So I indicate for flat off of here, and then grind there. And once you run it down, you get an idea of where you're at, and then drop it however many thousandths, and then just go around freehand with an end mill. Midnight, thanks for sharing your work on the steels. Just for farmer tech, something you trained a couple weeks ago. Looking at the 440 for work saw and clearing land someday. So far, I was not super happy with the 440 kit. I think the 660 kit is the best bang for buck out there still. But I mean, you're welcome to try it. I've definitely swapped out a lot of parts on that 660 kit, and I think the 440 and the 360s are probably not a whole lot different. Do I match the ring diameter of the squish band on the head? Yeah, what I do on this one anyway, you can basically put something down the bore here. Okay, this is a known diameter. Put it down the bore and see, okay, that's about where, for thickness, about where you want it. Measure that, cut your pop-up. $29 people watching on a Sunday morning. I haven't even done anything yet. So let's start. I'm going to grind on this just a little bit more to kind of clean this up. This was done freehand on the Bridgeport. And we can do a little bit better. I also need a gasket here. And have a 372 gasket. Hey, Ellie. What is the clearance between the piston and the cylinder? I don't know. I think that varies. It's an important specification, no question about it, but I think it really varies. Okay, on here, I want to round those edges over just a little bit, clean that up, and then I'll put this on there, make sure it matches, then we can take that to there. How you doing, Ellie? So this is plumber's putty in here. It prevents stuff from getting down in the bearings. And some gloves are helpful. I just want to remove the sharp edge. So that should be okay now. Let's get... Nice to clean things up with the vacuum going. That way you don't have pieces, you know, here, there, and everywhere. Just make sure everything's nice and clean. There you go. Hey, Ralph. Yeah, go. Yeah. Ultimately, that's what I'm here for, Ralph. If I can give somebody a little bit of ambition, That's great. Go and tackle this stuff yourself. Get rid of the mystery, you know? For so many people, there's just such mystery with chainsaws. Morning, Pat. How are you? Steve's Saloon has some good videos. Yep. Hope you guys enjoy them. I wondered about a lot of Pharmatech lockups due to no pre-warm. Cold saw at high revs. He's pissed. Start it. Let it warm up. Simple. Okay. Now, take your gasket. Looks like it lines up pretty good. So now you can look on here and see where you might need to grind. Oh, that's not the right way. It is the correct way. I just take a magic marker. You got an idea of where you're at. Not a homemade gasket. No, this is highway gasket. Now I'm gonna go and get rid of some of the sharp edges. Larry, I just posted that something about that this morning. And I think actually this is a real relevant point. It has to do with secrets. If you're a pro and you have secrets, don't let that saw out of your hands. Because as soon as you have a saw that leaves your hands, especially the guys on an enthusiast forum, the cat's out the bag. You know, do not expect people to not pull it apart, especially on an enthusiast forum. $92 cc's is absolutely not a bit much. You can use a 660 for milling, but I think the 660 overall is best bang for buck. I'm not sure the less expensive saws are worth it, especially the 200Ts. The amount of stuff you need to change out on a 200T to make it a real viable saw, I think, starts to get into the realm of just buy a used one and rebuild it type of thing. Craig, we have a 372 we're playing with. So I'm just going to kind of give this a work over here. Nothing too crazy. But yeah, Larry, if there's a pro with secrets, I don't see why they would sell that saw if there's any secrets in it, Yep. Machines, the cylinder, and the cases. Have spent $1,800 to have saw built by Myrtle Creek. Never started, took it apart, applied that technology to my stuff. Well, and spending X amount of dollars, whatever it might be, if you're getting a good product, it's great. It's fine. If I'm fine with that. It's the spending lots of money and then not getting a good product that's a problem, The 460 kit I have no opinion on because I've not actually done one yet. Just trying to round all the edges, you know? I don't like things that are sharp. Who's making pancakes? You got a real job today, Ken? You actually making real money? That's good. Happy for you. In general, with this stuff, I don't like sharp. And it's got to kind of flow this way, so it doesn't look quite right. Grind on it until it does. That's getting better. How important is port work for a saw that runs reliably but isn't made for racing? Depends on a lot of different things, I guess. I tend to not run saws that are stock. Just doesn't do it for me. But they don't need to be crazy ported either. Getting reasonable power out of the chainsaw with port work is not that difficult. For me, I don't. At midnight, it's an interesting question. If you're a pro, like a professional tree guy, I really don't see a lot of professional tree guys running ported stuff, mainly because it tends to be probably less reliable than stock in general. It's better to run ported stuff because it's faster, but in general, if you're a tree guy that needs to be moving and hauling and whatnot, you need stuff to work, and you need stuff to, if it doesn't work, to be able to go trade it in under warranty. My opinion on that. Hey, Nikki. So there's, I don't know. It's kind of an interesting question, really. I think if you're a seller or, a tree guy that goes, and does lots, you're working, you need to be up and running. So you can't have downtime. I'm just going in here and rounding everything off, kind of. Just so it looks right to me, And you can spend forever doing that. Just depends on how much you want to get out of it. Did I figure out the uncarbon spot? No, I did not. And that head blew up, Ken. Hey, Andy. If you soup up your saw, it fails, it's your fault. You fix it. If your stock saw fails, the factory will fix it for you. Yep. It has to do with warranty and downtime. I can afford downtime, but then again, I bring 4 or 5 saws out to a job, Minimum 3. Tree guy needs something to work, and if it don't work, you bring it back to the dealer that you sold your soul to, and say, here, give me another one, and that's it. Back off and running. This was the saw that the crank ate itself on, and I'm doing a 272 big bore, 372 big bore. Sorry. So this is unground. That's ground, more or less. Again, you can spend an awful lot of time on this. Right. You know, if you're an enthusiast, you do things a certain way. If you're a tree guy, you do things a certain way. We're adding a CC here somehow. Right. Side here and do this one. Let's get 268. Good morning. See, this side actually looks kind of more open than this was, so I don't need to do nearly as much. On 372s, this is really kind of the time-consuming part. can really spend a lot of time doing this. So at what point does extra compression affect the decomp? Affect the decomp? What do you mean? You can plug your decompression valve if you want. How do you headspace that? Squish. You grind on the base. So I did that with the Bridgeport. You cut a pop up if you want to adjust squish that way. You might grind on the crankcase, which I also did. So I basically did three things that affect squish. Bridge work, yeah. Yeah, not lots more needed here. Yeah, that's not perfect, but that's better than it was. Yeah. Good. There you have that. Let's have a look at this. See how I did. The decomp pops out and becomes plugged effectively at higher compression. So when the saw is running, it pops out basically. Yeah, some guys like plugging decompression holes. I understand that can be a manufactured air leak, but my arm thanks me too. Yeah. So I want it as even as possible, left to right. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to ever be heard over the Dremel or the vacuum, so even with a lavalier mic. It's okay, I'm not that interesting anyway, Andy. Okay. So now, I'm going to go wash this real quick, and I'm going to put this on the crankcase. Mike Batto, buddy, what are you doing here? Yeah, it fits in now. Be right back. Let me give these a quick wash, get the stuff off. Hang on. "30 people watching on a Sunday morning. Unbelievable. Unbelievable." Okay. OEM piston pin. Pin bearing, rather. Now I need the pin bearing. Where's that? Where did I put that? Box. It's here somewhere. Oh. It's over here. You guys are supposed to tell me it's right here. Dummy. Okay. Now we need a couple head bolts. Not really head bolts, but they'll do. And this. And the gasket. A cold 08 is a beast to start. Yeah, I'll bet. All right, so the moment of truth to see if all this machining came out right. Gained 2 pounds. It's terrible. Oh, one other thing I need to do. Hang on. Before I do that. This straight one. right here, if there's a lip, it's not going to be right. So right at the base of the skirt here. Now we see if all the hard work paid off here, and if the squish is remotely close. Did I sham for the case board? Yes, I did. Ken, you missed it. It's not a head slapper. Check that out. It's not a head slapper, but where are we at on the squish? Who knows? Oh, this is so exciting. Who's excited? Gonna see how my machining did. I'll bet it's 21.5. I bet 25,000. I bet it's a little bit big. Oh, maybe not. Where's the flywheel? Where's the flywheel? It looks kind of tight, actually. Oh, the compression. How about 18 thousandths? Let's just double check that. Yeah, we're talking about, like, I milled 20 some odd thousandths off the case here. I milled 40 some odd thousandths off the piston, and I milled like 65 thousandths off the base of the head. So it's a lot of different machining, which can all end up with error, you know. Yeah, double check 18 thousandths. Wow. Run it. That's right. I'm going to run it. It's cutting it close. It is cutting it close. What I could do is sand the squish band a little bit. I'd have to find a 52 millimeter piston. I don't know. Do we want to do that? I know. Run it, right? Let's run it. We're going to run it. Not yet, though. There's more port work to do. So here's what we're going to do. Let's put the degree wheel on here. OEM crank, yeah. Does altitude matter for altitude matters for compression? Altitude affects compression. The higher altitude, I think it's going to be a lower compression, right? Oh yeah, this is on the edge. Actually, you know, even down to 15 thousandths is probably okay. 14 is kind of too tight for me. So, oh yeah, this is as is number 2, 100%. Something else I'm thinking about. You know, I really should put the gas tank on here. It would be a lot easier to handle this thing. So we'll do that in a minute. It's still going to get hot midnight, so it's still going to come up to temperature. And at temperature, it only expands so much. If it's running cooler because it's cold outside, it's not going to expand as much, which means you're less likely to have a head slapper. That would be my thought. Not quite, Ken. No, it's not nearly as much of a question mark as you might think. All right, so I've got the degree wheel, and the degree wheel basically cinches down on the shaft there. So what I like to do, and you can do this all kinds of different ways. What I like to do is make a couple of random lines on the top of the cylinder, and then I can line this up. Hey, Craig. Someone made iron hose adapter set for crank and degree wheel. My how to not take my own head off. Description fits all standard model chainsaws. They have higher release than the standard steel valve. Yep. Go deliver firewood. Take care, Pat. So I've got 2 lines on there. You can also use a coat hanger attached somewhere, just so you have some fixed point. Then what I like to do is bring the piston visually to top dead center. I'll do is I'll hold the shaft still here and then run this over to top dead center. And that gets me close. Cinch it down a little bit. Bring it back. Piston stop in. Too much. The piston stop can go in at an arbitrary point. It just has to be balanced both sides. So now I look at it visually and I'm at 51. Okay, click 51. So now go to the other side. And I'm at 15. So now I need to move this way. Bring it over to 30. That's going to be darn close, actually. Okay. 34. And 30. So I need like 2 more degrees here of movement. That's like 32, 33. Let's call that 32. And we're going to call that 32. Close enough. Take care, Ken. Thanks. Take care, Nikki. Don't know. Where's James? I haven't seen him on. This is not good. Just talked to him last night. Let me see if I can text him quick. Okay, so now we've got it balanced left to right. Now we can get basically absolute numbers as opposed to relative numbers. That exhaust is flat. Okay, so right there we have 90, 100, 105, 106. So a little bit to grind on there. James might be in the shop flushing a tank wagon. Got it. How important is plating in the cylinder? Pretty important. You mean the type of plating? Pretty important. Okay, so the intake is not freeporting. So that's in. And we are right at 79. So that's beautiful. Like the intake is perfect right now. I need to flatten it and do all kinds of, but as far as the overall number, I really don't want to change it much. Okay, good. Now the only other thing, so yeah, we have a little ways to grind on the exhaust. We also need to grind the transfers likely, but let's figure out what the transfers are. So we're going to bring this to bottom dead center. Yeah, I'm definitely not a plating expert, but you need the plating, so you can't go up against bare aluminum. It'll wear out like immediately. No, bare aluminum, because the ring is cast iron. It's just not going to work, you know. Now I need a ring. Where's the ring? I should just put this back together. Ooh, Craig knows. Thanks, Craig. And I think Nicosil plating is actually a MAL patent. So the other types of plating that are used, they can't call it Nicosil, right? I think MAL owns that or something like that. Right. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to put the ring in the head. Take care, Andy. Ladies and gentlemen, in case you're wondering, that's my cousin. Okay, now what we can do is run this up to exactly where we want the transfer. So I like 120 for this. So 90, 100, 110, 120. You run the wheel right over to 120, back it off to bottom dead center. Pull this out. So not too much grinding to do to get to 120. Just put a titanium piston cylinder on it. I don't know. All that material science stuff is tough. Tough to know what works and what doesn't. A little bit brake clean on here. I just want to make sure these surfaces are super clean and dry. I think it's more important than the absolute number to have an evenness left to right. So we've got the ring in here. Now I can draw a line with, again, my magic marker. Metallurgy. Well, that's cool. Yeah. I know some metallurgy, not much. As a dentist, you kind of have to know this a little bit, but I know enough that I just don't know that much. You kind of get a sense of like, yeah, this is way more complicated than my brain's ready to handle. Cinnamon sauce, how's it going? Yeah, so now I've got lines in there that tell me where I need to grind to. So where's the ring? So flatten the intake, unflatten the exhaust, widen the exhaust. Maybe I'll work on the upward transfers a little bit first. We got that line there. Last day off before work. Mike, take care. What's the advantage of machining the deck compared to ports? Sometimes I like to machine the deck of the crankcase because I don't like sticking this in the lathe, and I'm not really comfortable sticking this in the lathe. It's easier for me to stick the crankcase on the Bridgeport. That's at least one thing. The second thing is that, especially if you're working with OEM heads, that if you have a decked crankcase and you have an OEM head, then, and for whatever reason you lose the OEM head, well, guess what? You just slap another OEM head on it, and the squish should be darn close to the same. That's certainly one advantage. The other advantage is not thinning out the ears. So it's actually, the crankcase is still strong after you machine it. This may or may not be. You know what I mean? Yeah. Good. Everybody's got their own thing that they do. That's fine. My tendency is to do it this way. Whatever. Grease. So right angle. Take care, Larry. Thanks. See? That's not going to work. That doesn't sound right. I have a mini lathe. Could I chuck the Farmer Tech stock piston and make a pop-up? Sure. Or you could buy the highway pistons that already have pop-ups on them. Probably doable on a mini lathe, though. But you need to cut the cylinder base. Well, yeah, probably need to cut the base, too. Why is that not going in? Sorry, I'm just working on a burr here. Oh, the diameter appears. Okay. That's what's messing up. So yeah, a pop-up does increase compression because the idea is you're filling up the crown of the combustion chamber more. Basically, you're making the combustion chamber smaller. Any way you can make the combustion chamber smaller, you're going to increase compression. Okay. So this is a dental lab handpiece with a right angle slow speed latch head on it. And these burrs are lab burrs, not intended to go in this handpiece. So you have to modify them for what's called latch system. These heads do not last very long. That's stuck. Doggone. That was going to work fine too. These heads are like $13 a shot, so they're not that expensive. Prefer not to wreck them. If I get 13, if I dispose of one per port job, it's not that big of a deal, Don't know what would have made this stick. Why is it sticking? Hey, Marshall. How are you doing? Pop up with the name of the center chamber above the piston. Yes. Craig's got it. Thanks, Craig. How much compression is too much? Depends on what you're doing. Somewhere around like 230 and up tends to be kind of unwieldy. I've seen some people making like 270, and eventually it works against itself, I think. Almost there. My stupid light has a short in it somewhere. One day I'm going to take this apart and find it. Maybe that day's today. Somewhere up here there's a short in this silly thing. Anyway, can you guys see that? As long as there isn't too much chattering, the heads last okay. Gotta check for tightness too on these. Yep, that head's cooked. That sucks. Two heads. Come on. And almost there. Half millimeter more. Cool. There you have it. It's kind of wavy there, but no, that's all right. That's even. Let's see if it's really wavy. Hey, Brian. How you doing? What are we doing next? Upper and lower transfers are pretty good. Now I just need to go back to my straight hand pieces and start playing around with them. Let's go to the exhaust here. Exhaust was like 106 earlier, so if I can get this to like 100, then I think we're going to be pretty good. We keep grinding it in the middle here. There we go. I try to take all the plating out of the exhaust port. Except for right at the exhaust roof. I try not to touch that. That's pretty. Hey, Stanley. We're just hanging out, playing with the 372 head. You know? I like intakes that are flat and square. See, I already know the center of this is pretty good as far as ultimate numbers go. But as soon as this opens up, I want it to be fully flat in here, you know? Actually, I've used drills like this in the mouth before. It's called a Hall drill. It's actually nitrogen powered. It's for, you know, if you're doing bigger oral surgery cases, and I really don't like it. I'll tell you what. Not super. Well, it's interesting, but I don't like it. Yeah, working on saws is all kinds of interesting for me. It's interesting. You know, and you can just play with it forever. Forever. I'm gonna wash this. I'll stick the piston in it and see what it looks like. Be right back. He lost one. December 661. Yeah. Yeah, everybody's got their own look that they like, man. You know. I don't always understand it. Some people like a particular look. Whatever. So now what I like to do is put the piston in here. And I can see how the exhaust, I can look and see how the exhaust opens and how flat it is and where I need to grind. So a shade more in the center. That's really pretty good. Maybe a shade more. Shade more over here and on the center. Not much. Not much. With the intake, I would call that darn flat. And I've got a ways to go to widen it if I want. How about the exhaust? There's all kinds of ways to check the exhaust and like, you know, is it wide enough? Is it not wide enough? All kinds of different ways. Put it straight. Go in there with my magic marker and I'll get a width. Sort of. 2 millimeters. More. That's how wide the exhaust is, so I can go a little bit wider if I want to. Yeah, if you make an exhaust too wide, it'll bind. It'll bind on a ring. Done it. Wrecked that 660 head. One of the last board jobs I did. Go a little wider. So what I look for in here, as this closes like that, the center should close last, essentially. Which this does. That's beautiful. Just need to put a really reasonable bevel on that. Okay. Time for beveling there. The intake can be wider if I want. I don't think I'm going to make it wider. I think I'll just leave that there because it's nice and flat. So let's do some polishing. So I've got some 50 grit here. Yeah, on these I like 80, 100, 120, 80, 120, 100, whatever, 100, 80, 120. Pretty standard number for a 372. There he is. So again, you can keep widening these and, get real specific about stuff. That's fine. Or not. That looks pretty nice. Yeah, the hobby gets expensive. You're right. Shucks. $220 grit. I think now's a good time to bevel the edges with the diamond. Yeah, for me, the lathe and the mill thing, I the lathe and the mill at my folks, but I just don't have room here at the house for that type of stuff, you know? Just a little bit on the transfers. Oh, there goes this phone. Okay, I need to go wash this, wash this, wash this. We'll do a final check. And then we may just put this together. We'll see. Next thing I gotta do actually is the Scotch-Brite. Just so you guys know, my other phone died, so I can't see comments. Now we're talking. See, I think I want to put a little more bevel on the center of that exhaust, but overall the Scotch-Brite really did a trick. That's really quite pretty. For an aftermarket head, this should run right nice. Again, just so you guys know, I can't see comments right now. I gotta go get my charger for that other phone. Whoa, too much. I want to make sure that my finger is not hanging on it, you know? Not sharp. Again, gonna go wash it. I'll be back. Believe it or not, the next thing to do here is to get, instead of work on that, get the gas tank on it. Here's the tank. And these are notoriously a pain. They have to go in just the right way. Let's see here. Bring over the parts here. I think this is for this one, but I don't remember. Oh. just want to fit the tank, and then we'll check final numbers here. That's a head bolt. That looks like an AV bolt. Just want to put the AV mounts on so this doesn't tend to go flying or whatever, you know. So now the gas tank isn't going too far. We also need the base plate here, the carburetor base. That will make life a lot easier. And we can certainly do that before we try down the head. So let's get the carburetor base. Fuel line goes through. Throttle goes through. Two kill wires here. Easier to pop out the switch, I think. Pull the kill wires through the opening, then attach them, then pop the switch back in. Now this switch is actually, I think it's from a 540, the top handle. It's a momentary switch, so basically the saw is always turned on, and you just push it to stop and it stops. So it's kind of a nice little upgrade. Now, one of the questions is going to be, do I need to grind this out? The answer is maybe. So let's take a little bit out of that. Because what happens is this, if the head sits down further, then the rubber only can take up so much slack, you know. And this is where this piece of rubber sits, right there. We need to come down a touch. There can be a lot of little things that you can overlook in a hurry with these when you're modifying them. That should do. Ground it out just a little bit. Make sure this seats well there. Some dumb thing with binding on these. Okay. Put these screws down. One, two, three. Nice to have all this done. Okay. Base is down. Now we can try the head on again. And get a final squish number. Or final squish, final whatever you want to get, you know. I'm going to also have to check is clearance. Will the flywheel clear? One of the most major screw-ups I've ever made is making sure head bolts, or not making sure head bolts are too long. It is very possible that head bolts bottom out before your head actually gets kind of cinched up. So now you can do is roll your wheel around and make sure the shapes are good and all that stuff. Shape's good on the exhaust. Where are we at for timing? Right about there. Right on 100. Nice. That's right where I wanted to end up. Intake is nice and even. Right around 79. That's fine. Transfers you can't really see good, so I won't even worry about that. Okay, so that looks fine. Now, really just a matter of assembling the darn thing. It looks over here like I need just a little bit more clearance. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe it'll be fine. Maybe fine. Okay. Still, even though this looks good, I'm going to try the head bolts in and make sure that they're not they don't bottom too quickly. Seven new emails. Okay, whatever. See, that one wants to bottom. I think. Either has just the junk on it. Okay, now I can see comments again. You know what? These are kind of gunked up. Let me get some fresh ones. These will work. 1, 2. These are a little bit shorter. Go to my M5 stash here. Everybody wants to have an M5 stash. Let's see how far this goes down. Possibly not far enough. That one's good. It really looks like I need to be looking for shorter bolts, though. I don't like using odd size bolts. I need to get... Ooh, these might work. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I think these are 20s. Yeah, 20. That will work. The stock is 25, but the ears are shorter, so, or thinner, so a little red Loctite here, and I think away we go, you know? I mean, there's a lot of little stuff that really goes into getting this just the way you might want it. See, I don't understand how the pros do port work, frankly, for so little money. I don't. And I posted that this morning. I know some guys are charging really big money, but I don't understand how you can do a thoughtful, careful job and only get $300 out of it. All right, so the ring goes on. Okay. There we go. We're back. There we go. Haha. Did it. I was just putting this band on here. If it goes. Tin's out. Take care, man. Thanks for coming. Just try it. Give it out again. gasket, make sure it goes. Oh, something's hitting. It is that. Is that the screw? It's really hard to position it anywhere else. The only other spot is kind of up top here. But that may be where we have to go. Thing is, it can't be in the way of the impulse line. It was still running. I think I'm going to grind some off there, because you really got to have it up top here. I think I'm just going to grind some off there. Harry, take care, man. Thanks for coming. You really don't rub it. You don't want the impulse line rubbing, on anything. Like that. Maybe a little more. Again, lots of little things. Next thing we have to check is the clearance of the flywheel. To pop up, it's 40 thousandths. Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, 40 thousandths for this one. I think that's fairly typical for pop-ups. rubber gets pressed a little bit, it'll sit. That's fine. Alright, next thing to check, like I said, is the flywheel clearance. Just kind of kisses it right out here. So again, assuming you have the thickness, which I do, that. Another thing you can do is take your magic marker blue Diacom works too. Actually heading lower now. You can don't need much clearance. Half a mil, fine. Your magic marker. Yeah, sometimes Husky does single rings, sometimes not. That's clearanced. We're good. All right. Piston pin clips. Let's do a little cleanup here, actually, for a moment. Pin clips here. That. See clips. Don't. I don't like using the aftermarket clips. But now I need to find some OEM piston clips. Might be in here. Don't know if that's $3.94 or not. this, we don't need that. Should be like the next thing on the agenda is organize pin clips. This stinking phone adapter. Stock is about 150, yeah. I think I'm going to get probably 200 out of this. Without too much trouble. You never know, but I'm pretty sure 200 is great. Not out the realm of possibility. Make sure this is degreased. Clean and degreased. This looks like a 394 clip. I think it's a bigger clip, 13 millimeter versus 12. Yeah, I don't think I'm getting that in there. Okay, so that's 394 clips. Okay, now I need to find one more 12 millimeter clip. Preferably without having to go out to the shed. This cache, I see one that'll work, but here it is. I found it. I've got on the 272 I've got sitting around here, I've got a paper gasket. I use like 10 thousandths thick construction paper. Yeah, this is good. Good. 2 OEM clips. Now I need to find a 52 millimeter ring. don't know if I actually have it. I'd rather use a nice, fresh new caber if I got it for good, rather than using the one that came with the with this. I just get rid of that. Get rid of that. 394 clips. 288. Put those in the 288 bag. What are you looking for? Rings. Yeah, 52 millimeter. Is it the right thickness? Oh yeah. Okay. How about what's that look like in here? Nice end gap. Perfect. There you have it. I think we're ready to put the head down. And then the rest of it is just building a 372, and this is mostly done already. Just a touch of red Loctite on the bolt holes. Looks pretty good, guys. Stock 372 I've found to be about 43,000 squish. It's actually fairly consistent. It's specific and it's consistent. That's what I found. Okay, 1184 on the base here. You know what? I'm actually not going to use 1184 on the head because, or on the the crankcase rather, mainly because if I need to remove this later, because if I'm fiddling around with it or whatever, if I need to adjust the port work, and this is milled. I mean, that is an absolutely flat case, so just it doesn't get better than that for flat. Yep, 1183 bonds, 1184. Yeah, it's not thermal compound, no. Think. I'd say everything's ready to go. That's tight. Just double check here. Circlips are both in the groove and low. Somebody in a minute is going to mention assembly lube. I know it. I can feel it. Got it. Now we move this. Well, here. Coat the whole thing internally here. Bearings are all, well, everything's brand new here. Bearings are new. The one thing that's not new is the crank itself, but it's used OEM. It's in fine shape. Impact them down. What bearings? These are Natchies. I usually use Natchies. Am I keeping this one? I don't know. Makes like 220 pound of compression, then I may have to keep it because nobody else is going to be able to start it. Well, maybe except for Larry. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. With my calibrated arm, that is good. Going to move the impulse line through the rubber piece here. Hey, Edwin. Oh, I'm just playing with a aftermarket 372. OEM cases, OEM crank, used, but it's OEM. Aftermarket piston and cylinder, but very highly modified at this point. All ported, polished. Husky decomp going in. The rest of this is just a, you know, just a build, not a big deal. Throw it all together. It's like old hat here. Yeah. Oh yeah, we're gonna pop this for sure. I would not deny you guys that. Just use a touch of blue Loctite on the flywheel nut. Piston stop here. No need for advance on 372s. They are pretty good right off the start. If you advance it too much, bad things start happening. Okay, somebody was mentioning assembly lube. So now I can go in and coat this thing. From the intake, from the top, from the exhaust, now the ring is automatically coated here. Again, 2-cycle lube. You can use 2-cycle lube if you want. You do whatever you want, really, as far as lube goes. This just happens to be convenient, and I know I catch hell about it all the time. Just all the time. Man, what the hell are you doing? Terrible lubricant. Okay, whatever. For what we're doing, it doesn't matter. Like, It just doesn't. All the other parts here. Business card. Now you're gapped. I haven't built a 372 in a little bit, so it's at least a little weird. Kill wire goes underneath. Can't quite put the starter cover on yet, but that's okay. Exhaust, clutch, this and that. Cylinder, shield, gasket, muffler. Yes, these are T27 fasteners. That's what I have. Sort of. I can use whatever I want. I feel like using these here. Yeah, dry rings on dry cylinders probably really bad. Or at least not good. Good. Muffler's on. Put the oil hose in. Nothing special there. This special washer that goes over that bushing, which is seated fine. Where's the oil? I don't know why I left it over here, but I left it over here. Rubbery piece goes in there. Oiler bolts get a little red Loctite. These are highway seals. I think. Some stuff, I think going OEM makes complete sense. Seals, at least between the highway seals and the OEM, I'm not convinced OEM is, that much better. oiler. Oiler hose, rather, brass hose. Now all these were working parts before the saw went kablooey last time, so I'm not worried about these parts not working or not, or having issues or whatever. Just not something I'm worried about. Pinion. Don't know why that's not going out smooth. Now the clutch is on. Just a little dirty. Okay. Okay. Clutch bearing. Made that up to the oiler. Rim. Don't let the E-clip go flying. some reason my limit screw has disappeared, so let's get that while it's on the side. Those always seem to disappear. Super annoying. Always need to have a really good stash of limit screws. Midnight, take care, man. Thanks for coming. What are these things? There's this piece that goes in here. And then we need, actually pull that out first. So these metal aftermarket, what do you call these? Sealing ring? I don't know what you call them. It's a boot. I don't know. I prefer the metal ones to the plastic ones. I don't know why they made the OEM piece out of plastic. Now you have that support ring that goes in there. And the high top air horn. Carburetor. Now I take and put a piece of tubing over those so nothing gets really in there. Carburetor bolts. This one is called carburetor bolt. Again, this saw was it was running before it blew up. So these components on here, I'm pretty convinced are okay, with the exception of was the bottom end and the top end were bad. Normally, you go through the carburetor, you do this, that, make sure all these parts are still good. Now we're just putting it together instead of doing all of that stuff. This is just straight assembly. Choke. You make sure it's pulling it to the limit. Going back to idle and all the way to the limit. Yeah, you're good. Okay. This piece for the cylinder. Back over here for a quick moment. Those are good. That's good. Bar plate. This darn bushing goes in here. Now I can put the starter cover on. Make sure it pulls before you cinch up the cover. Yeah, we're getting close, James. I wasn't going to pop it without you. Okay, maybe I was. Let's put the handle on. Some people like these wrap handles, some people don't. Thing is, right now the wrap handles are super cheap from Husky. They come with the big dogs too, so the Husky OEM part here is really, really inexpensive. Over smooth, nice, nice. Who wants a compression number? Who waited around for a compression number? Is it 0 right now? With the decomp in, I'm at 160. That's 180. That's 200. That's 210 plus. We're over 210. Who wants the saw? Anybody interested? Might be an arm breaker. Who knows? Put this down gentle. Make sure it doesn't close the gap on the darn thing. You gotta feel it. Oh yeah. Who's happy? Huh? Who's happy? And you need to pull a spark. Yeah, I don't put spark plugs in that tight. There you go. Yeah, I'd say 40,000 is pretty good for a pop, if you can get it there. This is potent. As long as it don't hook a ring. You know what I could do? I could get that 272 to pop today too. But you know what? I think I'll leave it be. I think it's time to go do something else. You know. Hey, Craig. You made the pop. Great. You made it. Well, Lost One Highway's making all kinds of 50 all kinds of pop-ups. So I gotta imagine that a 50mm pop wouldn't be that hard to find, or they have it coming. They're doing all kinds of stuff with that right now. Question is, like, what other stuff on here did I forget? Hopefully not much. You know what? I might put that here. I don't know. Maybe I'd go down to Dad's today and fiddle with this thing too. See what he thinks. Gotta pick up the kids anyway. So, questions, comments, anything else, guys? Anything else going on that you want me to address, or? I think I call it a day. I gotta get some lunch, you know? Time for that. I'll tell you what, I've had fun, and I'm continuing to have fun. And, yep, guys, I hope you like the show. I don't know when I'll get on that 272. Hopefully tomorrow night. Unless Kenny's coming up tomorrow night. We can work on, we can work on that and seals for him. So, don't know what Kenny's doing. But I'm going to go get some lunch, and thanks much, guys, for hanging out. I really do appreciate it. And this has been fun, you know? This is a pretty cool build, if you ask me. And it's always fun to take a cylinder that's really not worth much of anything and see what you can do with it. And, of course, this is a lot of work. But maybe she runs like a banshee. Who knows? Everybody, have a great day. Be safe out there. If I don't see any of you before New Year's, then have a great New Year's, obviously. But I'll be on probably tomorrow night. We'll do some more stuff. Take care, guys. Thanks, James. Thanks, Ken, for moderating. Bye.